The champions! The champions! Serious note though, people. Arsenal have been drawn against FC Porto away from home in the first leg of the last 16, people. The Champions League dream for now continues. It will be played around February the 14th and the 20th and 21st. Arsenal have actually been drawn against Porto 3 times, winning all 3 of the home ties, people, without conceding a goal. But we've never won away against a Portuguese side, losing 2 and drawing 1. Memories of Sporting Lisbon come to mind from last season. In fact, the last time Arsenal ironically got past the last round of 16 in the Champions League, we beat Porto 6-2 on aggregate in 09 of 010. Bentner scored a hat-trick. Lord Bentner scored a hat-trick at the Emirates Stadium as we got safe passage, people. That's actually the last time in a while we've actually gone through to the latter stages of the Champions League. Arsenal, unfortunately, have been knocked out of the Champions League at the last 16 in each of their last 7 appearances in the competition, with the exception of 09-010, where we beat Porto. Other than that, it hasn't been happy stomping ground for us, people. We've just returned to the Champions League after a few years break. Let's hope we can go as far as we can. But Porto cannot be slept on. They cannot be taken lightly. Some of you lot remember Sol Campbell bagging against Porto, people. Can Kai Havertz be a positive hoodoo? Because when he won the champs, he also played against Porto. Now, our sporting director, Edu, was obviously our rep for the draw, and he said a number of interesting things, but I think he said the most important thing in the last sort of statement, where he says the most important thing for us is to maintain our performances and the way we are playing. That's our focus. That's where we want to be and want to keep growing. So let's see how far we can go in the competition. We want to try and get as far as possible, but we are very much concentrating on playing well. Facts from the sporting director, and I'm sure Mikel Arteta agrees with such. The Champions League dream for now is still alive, people, but we need to keep going. In fact, the last 16 draw has been made in full. Obviously, Porto against Arsenal, Napoli, Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, Sociedad, Inter Milan, Atletico Madrid, PSV, Dortmund, Lazio, Bayern Munich, Copenhagen, Manchester City. Not that they're going to get a hard tie, are they, City? With the greatest of respect to Copenhagen. And RB Leipzig will welcome Real Madrid. Now, speaking for myself in relation to the immediate reaction or my immediate thoughts on drawing FC Porto, first things first, I'm happy with the draw. Again, everybody is in the Champions League because they deserve to be there, much less the latter stages. I don't advocate complacency, and I know Mikel Arteta will agree. I don't think this is a walk in the park. I don't think Porto are to be taken lightly. I believe anyone cut steps to the Emirates, we can give them a game. Away from home is a completely different thing. So I urge caution to my Arsenal fans. In fact, by all means, Arsenal fans can be as pessimistic or as optimistic as they want, such as life in the Champions League in the group stages. Arsenal fans are very bullish. I've even heard fans say there's only a select few of teams that we fear, the Real Madrids, etc. And I'm not saying they're wrong, but that for me is very naive. We need to assume everybody is of that standard. We cannot take teams for granted. We don't have the best of records in the Champions League, much less progressing to the latter stages. We don't have the best of records in Europe. The last time we played a Portuguese side in a knockout stage last season, what happened? And as much as I love Mikel Arteta, there are a couple of gripes I have with him. One would be the latter stages of European competition, Olympiacos, Sporting Lisbon, Villarreal, across the two-legged ties, because obviously it's 9 times out of 10 been the second leg which has made the difference and we've gone out. But much like Sporting last season where we was in Portugal, the damage, in my opinion, is done in the first leg, and I need my players and my manager to really comprehend that. Again, we're very positive about Arsenal Football Club at the moment. It's December, and I'm not saying I want that to go away. I'm just saying I don't know the climate of what February will look like. We don't know what we're going to do or not do in the January market. We don't know what our form is saying individually and collectively as a team. We don't know about injuries. Obviously, the fixtures and all competitions are starting to come thick and fast, assuming we advance in the FA Cup. Obviously, we're in the Premier League, and for now, we're in the Champs. It's going to be a big test. Now, I like what we've done this season. I think we should be filled with optimism, but we cannot sleep on Porto. Am I happy with the tie? Yes, I think it's an even. I think it's an even clash. I want to go and win in Portugal because you can see we ain't got the best of records when we go to Portugal and play football. And for me, that's what I need to know, because nobody, teams coming to England, us, going over to Portugal in our case or anywhere else. Every European game and stadium is difficult. And that's why I actually like the group stages against Sevilla where we coped. So there's plenty of reason to be optimistic, but we've got to go out and do the business, really. We've got to remember, essentially, a lot of these players have only just popped their Champions League virginity. In fact, the gaffer as well, this is his first time in the Champions League. I am a bit bullish because I do think as we advance to the latter stages, teams are going to start to man mark Saka and Martinelli. But maybe it's a European thing. There's a lot of space given to our danger men, and we've made it count. And for me, in terms of free flowing, attractive football, of course, there's been games in the Premier League where I believe that, but I think we've saved our best for the Champions League. So yeah, Porto's a difficult test. It's a tricky tie. It's one that can't be taken lightly. I urge fans to be cautiously optimistic and not be arrogant, because Porto have nothing to lose. If Porto win, there's all the headlines in the world for them. If they lose, it's business as usual. If Arsenal go out, you know what's going to happen. They'll be talking about it for about 2 to 3 weeks. This is the scenario we wanted to be in. This is why the whole rebuild was set. We want to be competing for big honours or being with a shout. Obviously, the next step is to actually one day go into a Champions League from start to finish, believing we can win it wholeheartedly and having evidence to back it. The same goes for the Prem. So we're ticking along where the Premier League and the Champions League is concerned. We gave a good account of ourselves in the group stages that we was expected to go through. Obviously, you've got to go out and win the games, and we did. We qualified with a game to spare. And I love how we've started the Champions League campaign. But as I just said, it's started. It's not finished. It's not that it's irrelevant, but what we've done in the group stages is irrelevant. There can be no complacency. We need to go out and earn the right. And of course, I want to go as far as possible. I mean, what fan, regardless of what club you support, who wouldn't want to win this competition? Arsenal's too big of a club not to have a Champions League or two. The sins of 2006 have to be arrested and addressed. So yeah, man, that's my thoughts in relation to Porto versus Arsenal. I think it's a good tie. I don't urge, complacency, but it's one that we're wary of saying expectation, but I expect us to go through if we play the way we need to play. And I hope all the players are optimistic. They probably were watching the draw just before they went out to training or whenever they're doing their recovery sessions, because we played on Sunday. So let's just keep going. And for Edu, can we dip into the market in January and get a centre mid or a centre half or two? It wouldn't go amiss. Obviously, long term, we'd all love a winger and a striker, and probably need to start looking for a backup goalie, because Raya versus Ramsdale cannot continue beyond this season. So that's my thoughts. I think, again, you can't sleep on Copenhagen, but it's to be expected. Manchester City get an easy tie. There's only 2 British teams left, strong contingent of Spanish clubs and a couple other countries. So we're going to have to earn the right to win, man. And hopefully, we can create some good memories in this competition, really. But I want to see the players react, because even the players that have been here in the Europa League, it hasn't been comfortable or nice for us. So we need to start having the European pedigree. I want to do what Inter Milan, obviously I would love to do what City done, but I want to do what Inter Milan and Benfica done, in the sense of they've got to quarters, semis, finals. People didn't really give them a chance, but they've earned the right to win, and they've gone through and did it, really. And there's no reason why, in theory, we can't. Some are more likely to win it than others, but everyone's got a chance, really and truly. And again, we know that if assuming we go through against Porto, the bigger tests are yet to come. You've got the big bad bullies in Real Madrid. They deserve that. The defending champions in Manchester City are still about. Barcelona are not quite the Barcelona they used to be, but they're still there. PSG, out of all the bigger teams that I've listed, I probably fancy them and Barca, to be fair, but them two over 2 legs. I think Arsenal, we could very well go out, but I think it's a good clash. I think we could do a thing. But PSG are still there. Their managers won the trophy and things like that. So we're going to have to bring our A game, man, to have a season that we want to have. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in relation to the Porto draw. Are you happy? Are you unhappy? Is there someone else you wanted? Did you want more difficult tests earlier in the competition? Because assuming we go through against Porto, I'd love to sit here and Real Madrid are dumped out, City are dumped out, Bayern Munich are dumped out, PSG are dumped out. But sooner or later, you're going to run into these big games, people. And when we got to the final in 2006, no one gave us a chance against Juventus or Real Madrid, and we managed to get to the final. And if it weren't for some dodgy refereeing, we'd have a Champions League. So, yeah, man, that's my thoughts in relation to it. The record traveling to Portugal isn't too good. We're a bit shaky to a degree against Porto, but, I'm happy to avoid certain teams, at least for now. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on everything. Not just our team. What have you made of, what have you made of us getting Porto? What have you made of the whole tie as a whole? Or better yet, the draw of the last 16 ties? Are you confident? Are you optimistic? Do you think we can go the way? Don't you? Just let me know your thoughts. Football would be boring if we all felt the same way. Variety is the spice of life. So please get your thoughts in. Leave a comment under the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Most importantly, stay safe, stay blessed, and we'll meet again soon. One love. Always is that.
Actually, when defending.
I think it's like